Welcome to the Pursue Your Spark podcast. We bring you the best tips and solutions in fitness and nutrition to lead a healthy lifestyle. This is the podcast that shows you how you can unlock your potential and why it matters to ignite the spark in your life. And now your host, Heike Yates. Today's episode number 15 is all about the 5 fitness myths that just won't die. After 30 years in the fitness industry, I keep shaking my head how the same old questions keep coming up. And you ask me and you say, Heike, this is the latest and the greatest. What do you think of this? I just read it on the internet. And so today I compiled the 5 top fitness myths that just won't die. Okay, myth number 1. It used to be called the corset. Then years later, it became the waist cincher. And I'm not kidding you, now it is called the waist trainer. And when you guys tell me about these things that you come across, of course you ask me, is this really working? What do you think? And I didn't know what the waist trainer was, to tell you the truth. I had never heard of it. I've written a couple years back a blog on the waist cincher because the same question had come up, then came up as it came with the waist trainer. So the waist trainer is not the thing that's called the shapewear. It's like a slip underneath your dress so you don't see the lines of your bra or your panties. It's a thing that cinches you in like the corset. And the promise of the waist trainer, which just blows me away that companies still get away with actually selling this fantasy. Okay, here's the promise. And I had to write them down because it just blew my mind. The promise of the waist trainer is they make your waist inches smaller. They support your back. Sounds pretty good, right? It trains your body to get the hourglass figure. It hides the back fat while losing unwanted inches. It trains your waist in style while losing inches. I'm sorry. And the list goes on and on. I just want to take my head and just shake violently because all these claims are baloney. So what is the waist cincher or the waist trainer? What is that contraption? It's, when I looked on the pictures on the internet, they look basically like the olden corset back in the, I'm German, remember? Like for me, the cowboy days when the girls went into the saloon and they had those corsets on that were very sexy and very tight. So they're made out of a corset material, strong material with steel bones in them to keep you together. And then in the back they have, or used to have, ties that you tied together. Then they changed it into the hooks in the front. But you still have to suck all you got to get in that trainer. Now, I'm looking at the picture, and everybody that wears those waist trainers looks so happy and looks so skinny, and they all have the hourglass figure, and they're the celebrities that we're looking up to, and these celebrities selling a corset that was, ladies, invented in the 1500s. And women fainted because they could not breathe. Google it. It's the truth. In the 1500s, because we were squeezed back then into a contraption that molded us into a hourglass shape. It sounds pretty cruel if you ask me. Now, fact is, if you suck it in and somebody ties it in, of course you will get smaller. The fat that you have will go somewhere, and their claim that it hides the back fat is really bad. Okay, here's medical fact that I found from a doctor, Christopher Ochner, I don't know how to pronounce this, Ochner. He's a weight loss and nutrition expert at Mount Sinai Hospital. And he says if you keep wearing it meaning the waist cincher or the waist trainer, for an extended period of time, think crushed organs, compressed lungs, and fractured ribs. And all that for a supposed hourglass figure, losing inches that you cinch in. I have to tell you, when I was in my teens, a hip girdle was the fashion. Not so much the waist cincher or the waist trainer as it's called now, but the goal was that it would hold in your stomach. And I remembered vividly because my mom and we bought one because we wanted to have a flat belly and a perky butt and whatever, no wobbly hips, which neither one of us had at that point. And so this hip girdle was like a pantyhose. And you put it on, it really cut into your legs, and all it did, it was made you sweat, which is also a claim I keep forgetting what it's called, the waist trainer. I want to be trendy. The waist trainer claims you sweat, and you sweat off your inches, and you sweat off your unwanted fat. So back in the days, it didn't last long. I got rid of that hip girdle and done. So ladies, please do not fall prey to those celebrity claims. Follow those stars and buy into these weird contraptions that some of them sell. So here is my fit tip for the waist trainer or the lack thereof. You want lasting results? You want to look slimmer, fitter, trimmer? Here's what you do. Fit tip number 1. If you want a slim waist, you need to lose belly fat all over. Spot training doesn't work, so get and start training. Diet and exercise. I know, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Exercise is good for you. Exercise and the right diet will produce results in the long term and are sustainable. No fractured ribs and compressed lungs. Ooh! So, reality check. If you can't have the body of a fill in the blank without lipo and implants, no matter how long you train your waist with the waist trainer, you will not shrink your waist. You will not melt your fat. Your back fat will show. And if you want a smaller waist, if you want to get in better shape, off you go. Hit the weights, start walking, clean up your diet. And everybody has their own body type. Some women just don't have an hourglass figure. All right, this was fitness myth number 1, the waist trainer. We're moving on to myth number 2. Lifting weights will make you bulky. Oh, this one keeps coming all the time. So many women shy away from weights. And why do you do that? Because somebody told you get big muscles. Most women don't. Yes, there are a few exceptions for women. When they lift weights, they will get bulky, but that means heavy weights. Now, as I did my research, did you know that Gwyneth Paltrow's trainer makes sure that Miss Gwyneth doesn't pick up anything more than 3 pounds? Want to know why? Because she doesn't want Gwyneth to get too bulky. Reality check. That means that Miss Gwyneth Paltrow cannot pick up groceries. She cannot move a chair. She can't pick up her child or do pretty much anything because a lot of things that we do in life are more than 3 pounds. So think about that. 3 pounds. If you're older and frail, We'll talk about this. But women our ages, we can hit the weights, and it doesn't have to be big weights. But more on that in a little bit. So here's the fact. Hormones play a major role in muscle building, and women have much lower testosterone levels than men. So it is really hard to get big. Think Arnold Schwarzenegger size. That's what comes to mind. You also would have to eat mega amounts of protein and lift extremely heavy. You know how I know that? I used to be a bodybuilder. Yep, you heard correctly. About 20 years ago, I decided, no, this is not true. My friend decided that it would be a great idea to compete in a bodybuilding competition. We both were personal trainers at that time, and we knew how to train somebody to get fit and in shape, but we decided that what would we do if somebody came up and said, hey, I want to be big. Show me how to get big, bulky muscles. And so my friend said, well, how about we sign up for a bodybuilding competition locally here in Maryland, and we just train for it. So back in the days, 20 years ago, the internet was not as rich and overwhelming, and information availability was limited to mostly books back then. Funny, right? So my friend and I bought a ton of bodybuilding books, and we just started working with the programs. We knew what we needed to do from a fitness point of view, but how do you put on big mega muscles on somebody who wants to compete in a bodybuilding show? You may say, ew, those women look gross. They have really big, ginormous muscles like guys. Yes, here's what I had to do. I trained every day for an hour and a half, weights, and not just little weights. I lifted as heavy as I could 7 days a week for an hour and a half each. I also had to eat clean. And you hear the jargon word clean eating, clean diet all the time now. Back then, clean eating just simply meant broccoli, tuna, beans, a little bit of rice, and lots of water. I remember the days when we ran around the gym with a 2-gallon container of water, because that's just what you did back then. So we learned our lesson, and we're learning that lifting that heavy and being that big is really not that healthy. Okay, here's my fit tip for myth number 2, lifting weights will make you bulky. Not true. Fit tip is strength training is important because lean muscle mass increases your metabolism and will burn more calories. So let me say this again, because I stumbled over my own words. Strength training is important because lean muscle mass increases your metabolism and will burn more calories, even at rest. Strength training increases bone density and will help reduce the risk of osteoporosis. That should be like after menopause right here. That's a no-brainer. It actually can help you manage or help you lose weight. Think of the metabolism speeds up or burning more calories. Lifting weight makes you stronger and fitter. So lifting weights or working with resistance, let's put it that way. And you know what? A fit and in shape body looks just sexy. There is no doubt about it. It takes time, but you will not get bulky. So remember, myth number 2 is a myth. Lifting weights will not make you bulky. Myth number 3, stretching before your workout will make you more flexible. So does stretching before your workout make you more flexible? Simple answer for that is no. This debate has been going on forever, since somebody coined the term stretching, I'm sure. There is one camp that says stretching is not necessary. We should definitely not stretch before we work out, and some swear that stretching is the best thing ever, and others totally ignore it. So we have opinions all over the place. And when you think of stretching, you may think yoga. When you think of stretching, you may picture a runner that desperately is trying to reach their toes while they're bouncing down, really hard to get to touch the toes. So you may have heard these before. You have to hold your stretch for a really, really long time to actually see a change in your flexibility. Don't bounce in the stretch or you tear a muscle. If you don't stretch before a workout, you'll hurt yourself. Well, sounds familiar, right? Well, they're all wrong. But do we need to stretch at all? Most of my clients stretch a little bit here and there, some more than others, but you need to know that there's two types of stretches: a dynamic stretch and a static stretch. When you stretch, you should feel a stretch, but you should not feel pains. That's very important to know. One of my friends is a physical therapist, and she always cautions about overstretching. Picture this. So pick up your hand, take one of your fingers and bend it away from the palm of the hand. If you do this with me right now, you can feel a little bit of a stretch, but it's not like you're ripping out your finger. This is how your stretch should feel. It shouldn't be really, really hard and really, really bouncy and aggressive. Gentle, steep stretching. So I am also a running coach, and my clients, my friends, when we run together, we warm up with dynamic stretching. So here's what that looks like. We're not just running around the track and warming up. We actually reproduce similar movements that we will be using in the running part of our training, but at a lower intensity. So think about you starting to walk, and you walk faster. And then you say, oh, instead of just walking as a warm-up, what about I do walking lunges? Yeah. Or you do leg swings. That means you stand on one leg and you keep both legs straight and you swing the leg forward and back. It warms up your hips and it stretches your hips. High knees is basically you stretch your arms out in front of you and you try to hit each knee to the arm. Super hard, I tell you. And the favorite of our runners, or not so much, is the butt kick, where you try to kick your heel of your foot towards your butt. That is considered a dynamic warm-up. Stretching before exercise does not offer any gains in flexibility. It may just feel good. But if it's part of what you do a little bit. But how about fit tip for myth number 3 is stretch after you exercise. That's the best time to gain flexibility. You're warmed up, and because you increase the circulation of your muscles that you used for your workout and joints, you've been moving your joints, now is the best time to do static stretches for increased flexibility. Hold them for about 45 seconds and definitely don't forget to breathe. So you have this dynamic stretching where you move before you run. Let's use running as an example. But you also have stretching after, and that's when you can take time to really settle in and hold the stretches and enjoy the cool down and enjoy letting your body temperature reduce to normal. So myth number 3, stretching before your workout, will you make you more flexible? Not so much. We're moving on to myth number 4. All women gain weight during menopause. The simple answer is no. But there are several factors to consider why many women do. So picture this. For years and years, you've been working out, and your nutrition plan that you followed, whatever it may be, has kept you lean and in shape. And then out of the blue, those strategies and routines just aren't working anymore. And I hear it all the time. I start gaining weight, especially around my midsection. Well, I'm in menopause too. I've been in menopause. If I think about it, I'm going to be 57 this year for 7 years. And I have to agree that what I have done is not working anymore. So over the years, I had to learn that I needed to change my workouts. I was no longer a bodybuilder. I was no longer an ultra marathon runner, but I was working out despite the fatigue, the sleepless nights, the night sweats or day sweats, depending. The weight just kept creeping up around the midsection. So I made changes to how I exercise and how I eat. And I pretty much can keep the body fat or the belly fat at bay, but it is a struggle at times. And just looking at food, and I know you can relate, sometimes just put the weight right there around your waist, whether you eat it or not, just looking at it. But you need to know that the ovaries produce both progesterone and estrogen, but those hormone levels do drop during menopause. So your body is now super sensitive to carbohydrates, and fluctuation of blood sugar levels occur. That's the insulin levels. So the body uses protein less effective than before, and building and maintaining muscle is harder. So go back to myth number 2 about weight training and lifting weights. It will not make you bulky, because we're here now in menopause, or some of you may be in menopause or perimenopause, and you go, I just can't keep the muscle mass on. My body gets flabby. I am getting rounder around the midsection. So keep in mind that the fit tip for number 4, for myth number 4, is nutrition and exercise play a huge role when it comes to stop weight gain during menopause. Here's what I'd like you to consider. Increase the amount of time you exercise from the recommended 150 minutes per week. If you break this down, that's only 22 minutes each day. That's not a heck of a lot. Try to do an hour per day instead, or get at least more than the 22 minutes. Your body will thank you for it. Or do shorter, high intensity interval training workouts. I've talked about that before. I'm not a huge fan of the high interval training, but some of you may like that style. So I wanted to throw it out for those of you that are like, I'm really a go-getter and I want to work out as hard as I can. For everybody else, try to get up to 1 hour and just make it more intense. Increase the intensity of your workouts by, instead of walking, maybe run or bicycle. If you can't for some reason or don't have the opportunity to go running or cycling, how about you walk hills? They definitely will kick your booty. Pump those arms and off you go. Big one is because of the blood sugar fluctuations. Avoid eating processed carbs. You know which ones they are. The chips, the crackers, the cookies, the stuff that all looks so delicious when you're hungry, and easy accessible at any coffee shop when the goodies look at you when you get your afternoon coffee. Eat a variety of vegetables that will keep you full. Kale, cauliflower, broccoli, carrots, you name it. There's a ton of vegetables out there that are easily available that you can throw into your diet that will help with keeping the weight gain down during menopause. Eat high quality protein. You have chicken, fish, beans, eggs, And my last post, last blog post was about protein powder. So if you want to go back to heikeyates.com blog post, go back and read what I shared with you about the protein in your protein shake. So that's it for the all women gain weight during menopause. So not true. It is a struggle. I give you that. We all are in this together, but we can find a solution and we can live better with less weight gain, less sluggishness, and a lot healthier. And I'm finally on to drum roll, myth number 5. Walking with weights will burn more calories. That's another one over my 30 years. This myth number 5 keeps coming over and over. Every couple of years, somebody happily tells me, Heike, I just got hand weights for my walking. Oh, you know what? At the yard sale, they just sold those wrist weights that I can now use or ankle weights that I can put on when I'm walking. The backpack, which looks, actually it's called the rucksack, but it's a weighted backpack or a weighted vest, has also become very popular. And here's what I was just asked recently. But don't I work harder, burn more calories, and get more toned if I added just 3 pounds of weight in each hand to my walk? Ooh, what do I do? What do I say? I wish I could say the opposite, but you should know that for every 10 pounds you add to your body weight while walking, so if you hold the 3 pound in each hand, that's 6 pounds, you only burn 5 to 8 calories per mile. I say it again, for every 10 pounds you add to your body while walking, you only burn about 5 to 8 calories per mile. That's not much. And if you compare that to walking a quarter of a mile, a 150-pound person burns about 20 calories. That's if they're using the 10 pounds, but most of us don't. We use 3 to 5 pounds, and that's a lot fewer calories. And I just wanted to throw that in. Reality check. A glass of wine has 125 calories. Do the math. How much more you have to walk to get with weights to get in a glass of 2 of wine. Now, what is most concerning about this to me is the risk. The load and what stress is caused by holding the weights on the different parts of the body. And I just yesterday saw somebody walking with the weights, and I know they have good intentions to burn more calories, but I know from what I've heard is that you want to do 2 things at once. Meaning, I strength train also while I'm walking. So think injury potential. Swinging the extra weight is a great wear and tear on the muscles and injures the shoulder if you think you're holding dumbbells and you're swinging along as you're walking. Ankle weights have the same problem. For the knees, not a good place, and it's a great risk of an injury. And when I think about this, if you want to walk longer instead to burn more calories. And when you think of weights are meant to be for strength training exercise, not for walking. One thing I also want to caution is the vest, the weighted vest as an option could be a safer way to burn more calories, the little few calories that you burn, but you have to have good posture and an already strong core. Here's a true story. I used to work with a client who had lower back and hip problems. And she came to me and said, I would like to get stronger. I have this problem and I want you to help me get out of pain. And we did our workouts. We did a lot of Pilates. But what I found out later on is as the pain kept coming back, that this particular person had a weighted vest. And it was a 15-pound vest that she would wear while she was running 6 miles 3 days a week. I had to say she needed to stop that. It was so unhealthy, but her belief was so strong that she would get a better workout, that it had to be the weighted vest. I strongly caution against it. So here's my fit tip for number 5. Walking with weights will burn more calories. To burn more calories, pick up your pace. Walk faster. Walk longer. Walk up stairs or hills. Will also burn more calories too, but in addition, it will tone your butts and your thighs. And stay away from crazy weights holding around, doing bicep curls or overhead or swinging or all of this. So, there you have it. My 5 fitness myths that just won't die. And I'm sure they keep coming back over and over, or maybe new myth will come up. So let me know what you think. Did that make sense to you? Did you come across other myths, fitness myths that just won't die that I haven't thought of? But this is it for today. The 5 fitness myths that just won't die. So thank you for listening to the show. Join my private Facebook group, The Art of Igniting Your Spark, to continue our conversation of fitness, nutrition, and mindset for active women. You know, it's real and raw every time. So thanks for being here, and I'll see you next time. Ciao!